someone gives you a moral support, you do not turn your back.
Where shall I go? How shall I start this journey?
Don't underestimate extracurricular activities.
Option, and this is how actually I discovered Think Company.
To ThinkPod, the podcast for people who want to make a difference. Today we have a special day as we have two guests speaking with me here today. One of them is Cansu Pylkkänen, who's actually hosted a few episodes, and then we have Tareque Mahmud, who's usually behind the camera for the rest of the episodes. And I'm Sanni Häkkinen hosting this episode. We're going to have a chat about building and nurturing connections as an immigrant in Finland, also as an immigrant entrepreneur. And we're talking about both personal and professional kinds of connections, and how really your experience it has been like. Welcome Cansu, welcome Tareque. How does it feel like being on this role, like in this different role for this episode?
I mean, I must say that sitting here is like, in compared to behind the camera, is totally different feelings.
Good to hear.
Personally, I think I like this more.
Oh,
It's so challenging to be interviewer. It's my first time experiencing, and I can see why this is a job.
Surely. And you get to tell your story. You get to express yourself, really.
Yep.
Yeah. I'm excited as well.
I think for me, I would love the backside of the camera. I think I'm not super great at, like, in front of camera than behind the camera. Yeah, but let's see.
It's good to do.
I might be, yeah.
Yeah, we never know.
We never know.
Yeah,
yes.
It's good to try both, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. But yes, surely you're part of this ThinkPod team both for this week. But would you like to tell something about yourself? What are you doing? Do you have some passions? What's your everyday life like?
I guess I start.
You can.
So I'm Cansu Pylkkänen, as Sanni said, and I'm a PhD candidate at University of Helsinki. So I'm pretty busy with finding funds for my research and doing the actual research. On top of that, I have my own company called Ego.studio. It's a design studio that I indulge myself into art, design, and architecture fields.
Yeah, right now, actually, I would say that I'm happily very busy with 3 projects in hand. I mean, 3 business is going parallelly, but we are all in development phase, so nothing concrete has made yet. And obviously, I'm not doing it alone, and with my co-founder and other colleagues, we are making it happen. So, yeah, going very busy. Yes.
Yeah, quite busy for both of you, I'm thinking. And also, if I've understood correctly, like one of your companies really like concentrates around all of the equipment that we have here in the studio. Then how have you, because we're all in ThinkPod, you're somehow connected with Think Company as well. Can you tell me something about that? Just a couple of words.
Well, I can say that I was the association board member last year. So, and I have been with Think Company ever since, like since last year. So I've been using Think Company working space quite regularly and still connected with the new board member somehow. Yeah, so I'm in it. Yeah.
Yeah, Cansu.
When I applied to do PhD, at the same time I wanted to be a part of an association that aligns with what I want to surround myself with, which are researchers and entrepreneurs. And a friend of mine from Aalto University, I studied there, is actually at the moment employed by the Think Company, and she mentioned what Think Company does and what kind of events there is. It sounded very interesting, and when I looked at the company website and saw what kind of team there is and what people do here, I decided that I want to be a part of it. I felt that it would be a gateway to meet new people, because when you do PhD, you're pretty alone. And I wanted to have something along with the PhD that feeds off of my entrepreneur side as well. And this has been just wonderful experience this year, I have to say.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. And you both really like connected this to your entrepreneur story as well. We'll get to that a little bit later on, but yeah, surely. And that's how I know the two of you as well, through the association, being as an association board member myself this year. What about your story about ending up in Finland? What brought you here and when? You can go first, Tareque.
Yeah, I mean, I moved to Finland 2009. It was a long time ago. Yeah, so it's been 14 years. And at that time, actually, I was studying in Malaysia, and I was thinking that I want to, go far away from home. And then Europe was one destination, and I was just checking in internet that where I can get a scholarship, so the cost of study can be reduced. So Finland was one option that if you take a entrance exam, and if you pass it, then you can come here and study for free. And I took the entrance exam. I luckily passed it, and then I just moved here. And before I moved to Finland, actually, I didn't know much about Finland, except the capital is Helsinki, and Nokia is made in Finland. But I was very much excited to the snow, because I have never seen snow before I came to Finland, and I was just thinking that, okay, how it might feel -20. So yeah, it was really very exciting for me when I moved. Yeah.
Yeah, sounds good. Kind of a coincidence then, where you just happened to find something on the internet. What about you, Cansu?
So I first time came to Finland in 2013. It's just happened so that I was doing master's degree in Politecnico di Milano in Milan, and my master's thesis subject was Lahti specifically. So I felt the need to move to Lahti for a couple of months, let's say more than half a year. As I said, I just felt a bit comfortable being away from the pressure of doing the thesis, and but at the same time I needed to be in Lahti to be able to study people and communicate with people. My thesis needed human feedback, and I needed to analyze how the behavioral Finnish behaviors, how it differs from Italy and everything. So I had to be here, but my stay was too long, and so I had to move back to Italy to finish my master's. But the moment I graduated, I moved back to be with my partner, and that's the story. I just never got out after that. I just stayed here.
It's a funny way of saying I never got out.
Yeah, I never got out.
What about, because you both already have quite some years in Finland, have you experienced some difference in the way for you, like that you see how immigrants, how are they integrated, or like any similar stories people might have coming here now? Like what has changed for you? is it still the same that it was the first days, or how do you feel about that?
I can go maybe. Yeah, I mean, well, I first came to Finland. I was living in Lappeenranta, so that was my university place, and I still remember that 2009 when I was like walking in the street, a lot of people was like looking at me that I have maybe never seen a person like this in this city, and then I moved to, after graduation, I moved to Espoo in 2014, and the situation was a bit different in compared to Lappeenranta here. Here was like I was seeing many international people also, but also it was not like how it has been last 5 to 7 years. I can guess that at that time actually people were not talking about or doing something about the immigrant people like the way it is doing now. I feel like my last study in Vasa University, my master's study, there I realized that there has been like a lot of change, like evolving with the international talent and international people. Like there is many mentors, course, many program there are like teaching how to integrate in this society, how to find a job, how to like get connected with companies. So there is I feel like last 5 to 7 years there has been a huge change in compared to like 2009 when people were just like, I was just walking and I look back and I see like, okay, somebody's looking at me. So no, it doesn't happen anymore here.
Yeah, so you're saying that also the general atmosphere in your experience, and also the different kinds of opportunities you see that are there. But surely Cansu has something to say as well.
My observation can be said from Lahti perspective, because that's where I lived half of the time that I stayed here. I don't have scientific proof, but I have this feeling that when I was living here, permanently starting in 2014, people moved here mostly from neighboring countries. People were used to seeing Russians, Ukrainians, Estonians, Swedish. That's just my observation. But when I came and went to this Finnish language course that government gives to newcomers to the country, my teachers made me think that maybe because I remember my teachers saying that this is the most diverse group that they ever had in the class. We had Germans, we had Italian, we had Turkish. Here I am. French. Sorry, my classmates, if I forgot about you, but there was Hungarian. So yeah, they said point blank that this was the most diverse group they ever had, and how it feels so different for them at that point. So perhaps from that onwards, more people came from different European countries, started to come to Finland. Maybe also the economy wasn't going well in other countries. I'm not really sure why this happened in 2014. Did they decide to come because I'm coming here? Let's join the party. But I would say that's what I observed.
Yeah. And surely, after that, say 2015, many things have changed in terms of immigration volumes in Finland. But yeah, sounds like an interesting experience in Lahti. Both of you, in Lappeenranta and then you in Lahti. So it's definitely a different thing to move to a smaller town first, even though they are not the smallest possible places, but still very different from Helsinki. All right, thank you for sharing. What about your stories as an entrepreneur? I understand that both of you are really like, as you said, like in the process with your companies. How's that going? What brought you here?
So I'm going to be honest. When I stopped going to the language courses, it was difficult to find job as an architect. And what I noticed is that like people were more interested in hiring me as a freelance rather than full time. So that's how I basically started being a light entrepreneur in Finland. It could be found either by the government kind of helping me find these freelance job opportunities, but it was also that I applied to some job openings on LinkedIn, and the return of it was that it wasn't a full-time job contract, but more of a freelance-based or project-based kind of employments. And the moment I graduated from Aalto University, I've applied to several jobs for 3 months. I've given a try for 3 months, applying with really concrete, well-thought applications. And the moment I realized that it's not going anywhere, I'm not getting responses fast enough, or the offer is not interesting enough for me to actually move forward, a couple of people around me encouraged me to open Toy Minimi, because I was thinking of light entrepreneurship just using Ukko, not sponsored. But yeah, I have 2 entrepreneur friends, and they said that actually 4 entrepreneur friends, but they are doing something else right now. So 2 of them said like, if we can do it, you can also. Just to open Toy Minimi, it's more beneficial. People trust you more with the Y-tunnus. What is that in Finnish? In English, is it company ID?
Yes,
so
company ID.
For people who are not in Finland.
Yritystunnus, I guess.
Yritystunnus, it's company registration number. When you have company registration number, I hope it's correct translation. People tend to trust you more. That's where my entrepreneurship took off. That I have my Toy Minimi, and it's not been that easy, but better than just waiting people to write back to you.
So you really like found your own way of doing something that you actually wanted to do, because you couldn't find that in other ways.
It's just that when you lose the control over your life, your career, when it always depends on other people's response, when it never comes, or if it comes it's negative, or if it's positive it doesn't fit you perfectly, then like you really like go through tough times. That's what I wanted to do with my company, that I wanted to take the control over. First time since I moved here, I wanted to take the control.
Sure, you're the captain
I'm
of
the
that
captain
ship.
of the ship.
Yeah, exactly. What about you, Tareque? Your entrepreneur story.
Yeah, I feel like it is in the DNA for me, because in Malaysia, when I mentioned that I was actually studying IT, and then when I got selected in Finland, I decided to study business. So in fact, I still remember that 2009 when I came to Finland, my university, there was some discussion about entrepreneurship, and then I realized that in Lappeenranta at that time there was no Indian restaurant. So I actually proposed them, and at that time internet was not as popular as now. So I literally had to look for in my presentation I did a lot of pictures showing from my own hard drive that I was presenting that I want to open a Indian restaurant in Lappeenranta. So that's what I'm saying. It has been that I'm gonna be entrepreneur since I moved to Finland. However, it has been a lot of up and down with life and study and like surviving here. So I think lastly, when I started my master's degree in Vaasa, I really had good support with me, like some friends who actually encouraged me that, hey, Tareque, I think it is natural to you that you can be maybe entrepreneur. So with their support and with a big dream, actually, then I moved from Vaasa to Helsinki. And somehow I had some past with the Entrepreneurship Society in Finland, which is like 2018 I first got introduced with the Entrepreneurship Society in Lauria. And from there, I somehow knew when I moved to Helsinki after Vaasa that I need to contact some of this Entrepreneurship Society. And I didn't know because like Vaasa had VES, but it was like the corona time, so nothing was happening. But then I came to know that Helsinki Think Company is having this association board election, and I joined there. I found new like entrepreneurship society when I was like a part of this society, and that actually ended me like last July. I opened my business. It was like a big decision for me that I officially start my business, and yeah, that's how it started and it ended and it's still going on.
Both of you shared a little bit about the ways you became an entrepreneur, how for both of you it was really your friends encouraging you to do that. How about if you think about the connections you've built so far in Finland in general? What was it like? Where did you first start finding some connections? Was it through work? Was it through, I don't know, leisure, your studies maybe? Or was it like a very specific community that brought you there? What would you say? Do you remember?
In general, how I managed to create connections in Finland has been quite simple. As I mentioned before, I went to Salpaus to learn Finnish over a year. It was, I think, over a year course. In there, I made amazing friendships that still exist today. They are my best friends. And in my opinion, our binding point was going through expat life together in here. Other connections that I created was through my partner's work colleagues. Of course, the amount of the size of the group is not big. It's concise, but it's such a deep connection of friendship that I wouldn't change with any shallow popularity race kind of group. I really like my concise, small amount of friendships that I built. And another connection point was my previous work experience. I worked in Sweco for a project-based. I had a project-based contract in there, so it was over a year of working there, and I was working in the structural department as a solo architect. Can you imagine? You are an only architect full of engineers.
Must be fun.
Construction engineers. And the moment I arrived to the office, everybody surrounded me, and everybody was like, so what you gonna do? With who you gonna work with? And I said, when I said I'm an architect, they were like, it was the first time they ever met an architect. and I was in a full of like structural engineers. We are supposed to be enemies. Sorry to say that, but I made amazing friendships out of that short project that I had with my beautiful team. Also, that lasts still today. The friendship that I made in there. But about school, for some reason, during the school time, I guess I was too concerned with the school work, even though I had nothing but teamwork. It didn't lead to these deep connections that you're supposed to have. But I'm also like kind of blaming myself. So I would say I probably should have been more active out of classes. I shouldn't have been super focused on the classes, but I should have been more focused on also building connections, turning the things into something deeper. I just never took time to do that. I know so many people were so socially active during their school time, and I wasn't. I was only focused on design.
Well, it's different for everyone, and still sounds like you found long-lasting connections that you've been able to nurture through the times, even though living in different towns and everything.
Yeah, the school friends I have from all around the world. Unfortunately, the good friendships that I built in Aalto, they all moved out. They all gone. So whoever left is just work colleague that I sometimes follow what they are doing and celebrate when they are achieving something great, but it never turned into something permanent or deep, which is, I have to say, what a waste of opportunity. It could have been magical, could have made my life in Finland more connected, but that's just how it went.
Yeah.
Now I know better, but I cannot take time back. So.
Yeah, but so maybe you would long for a little bit more like connections that are also connected to your professional life and networking from there. What about you, Tareque? Where did you start finding your connect?
I've been very lucky in this case that I have met a couple of people in my life who has become my friend eventually, who has been really encouraging me to take this journey to be an entrepreneur. So some people came from my last internship, for example, and some came from my hobbies that we shared together, same hobbies, which is like videography and photography. And some came from some places where I was like doing some volunteer work, like video production for a company. And there is a couple of friends who wants to do it like as a group. So I feel like deciding to take this path as an entrepreneur is not easy, and it's very like a brave, and it's very challenging. And without these all of these friends who has helped me, without support from them, I wouldn't be like it wouldn't be possible for me to start this journey. And like shortly, last but not least, I must mention that I've been with the Entrepreneurship Society in Finland, as I mentioned, since 2018 from Lauria Ammattikorkeakoulu, so Lauria Entrepreneurship Society. And I was there for 6 months, and with Think Company been 1 year, and here we have been always talking about entrepreneurship and encouraging other people. And at some point I was thinking like, okay, I must start my own journey as well. Like when I'm like promoting entrepreneurship in the society, then what is like stopping me to start my journey? So I would also give some credit, or a lot of credit actually, to be honest, to this entrepreneurship society community all over the Finland. It has helped me a lot.
Surely, and I think that's what brings a lot of people here is like you slowly grow into that. And surely, like me myself, I'm here quite randomly, but also I am starting to see how that could be something I could be interested in as well. This is the first time I'm saying this aloud, so you're welcome. Anyway, this is just really like a sudden question, but I started thinking that what would you say those early connections were your first connections mostly from the international circles, or would you say was Finnish people? Just what's on top of your mind right now? Which one was it?
I can say that it is a mix of both, but if you ask me like a percentage wise, I would say that okay, maybe since I'm an international person here, so I might hang out with more international people than Finnish people. So in my cases, I would say that I think it is more than 50% that I've been influenced by the international community than Finnish community. But of course, Finnish community also has helped me many ways. Otherwise, I think I wouldn't know how to, for example, find my kirjanpitäjä or how to open my fill up my business form, like a business application form. My Finnish friend actually has helped me on that part.
Yeah. What about you?
My network is majorly international. I have, I would say, 20% that is from having Finnish background, but I would even cry saying that those people who are in my network, they are the best thing that ever happened to me. They made so many self-improvements, developments happened. I love them to death. So
wow. Oh my.
Wow.
They are amazing people. So I'm just so grateful to know them.
Thank
I
you.
can actually relate to Cansu on these things. Actually, this is emotional. I also feel very emotional because living in another country is not easy, and definitely there is a lot of challenges with like finding friends and when the language is also different than mother tongue, there is a lot of challenges coming from that side also. So in this journey as an immigrant, those people who really help, you just cannot forget them. They are like, they become like
Family.
Some family, yeah, more than family in my opinion.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that describes a lot because it's just a different way of life, and you have to build that network all over again.
Yeah.
Surely, yeah, and kudos to anyone who's learning Finnish. I love languages myself. I love learning languages. I've said I would never ever want to learn Finnish if I wasn't native, because it's a very ungrateful language to master.
Can I ask a question?
You may.
This is something out of ordinary, I know, but I'm really curious. Do you think as we grow older, is it hard for us to find connections, or do you like, since you are even longer living here, like do you think you met easier when you moved than compared to now, or is that a myth?
I feel the quality is now better than quantity. So when I moved, I had 10 friends, but not like, I have maybe 2 friends, but I think 2 friends is the very good quality and very best friend. But the 10 friend that I had in the beginning, nobody I know anymore. Yeah, nobody, I'm not in contact anymore. So quality is getting better, in my opinion.
But you still meet some people.
Yeah, of course. I mean, through this entrepreneurial journey, like now I meet only entrepreneur like you. See, you are here today. You are another entrepreneur, and I think I meet mostly people with similar mindset nowadays. Like I have made very less friends who are not entrepreneur. Very, very little. That, in fact, I cannot meet them in a way that, now, good point, one of my friends is like knocking me many times that, hey, can we go to do something? But our time is not matching because as an entrepreneur, I'm like working not like 9 to 5. So I'm not like getting connected with them anymore.
It is so true. Like when you become older and older, your schedules are so rigid. I cannot believe how my 20s went, so that like I could pop up in somewhere and my friend could come with me. We would do something out of a sudden. But now it's almost impossible to do anything with anybody, as calendar needs to be synchronized months before.
my new go-to is like arrange 15 minutes chat times with people, no agenda, no nothing. I'm like, okay, we have 15 minutes, we're gonna go with 15 minutes. But actually, Cansu, thank you for leading us here, because actually what I wanted to ask you next, what Tareque mentioned here, is that when you're an entrepreneur, your professional social relationships are really mixed up. Maybe mixed up is maybe a strong word here, but that might be the reality. So is it difficult to now, as an entrepreneur, for example, to create new social relationships, new social connections without mixing it then with the entrepreneurial side? I don't know if you understand what I'm getting into here, but
very clear.
Yeah. If you want to share your thoughts, go ahead.
Building a network is really tricky. Some people will be there to take you to the next level in your career, and some people will take you to the next level in other aspects. So I don't think that necessarily that every connection that you have going to lead to some business-related relationship, but it is a fact in architectural world, at least, that your first clients are always people that don't know you, or your network leads to a client. They refer to you. So in that sense, network is really, really important, with people that believes in you, that supports you, that wants to put word out for you. But as I said, it's not always the case that that's where it goes. You just have emotional support, or as you said, like that people supported you emotionally, boost you up, support you when you feel down. So even like you need to basically balance. You need to find what value you bring to each other. And if someone gives you a moral support, you do not turn your back when they need the support. It's all synergy, it's all energy. When someone puts 100% for your friendship, you need to give it back. Otherwise, it's a toxic relationship. You need to define which ones are toxic and get rid of them, and don't be a cause of toxic relationships. So it's all give and take. It's never one-sided. That's the most important thing that I learned while doing the mistakes that I made.
But also you've been able to, even these days, to still like maintain certain relationships without thinking of them as new opportunities, but more like, as you said, maybe you never know where things are going to lead you, and sometimes it's going to be your network from other things that actually gets you forward. Do you agree with this, Tareque, or do you have a different point of view?
Yeah, I agree, but like as you asked about the professional and social network right now, like the life, do you mean that do I meet professionally the same person and socially somebody different? Do you mean by that? Like
yes. So are you still like able to maybe distinctively think about those things, or is it something that is a little bit intertwined in many ways?
I think like from right now, my life perspective is that like since we are developing a new business, so I'm like most of my time and focus is only to this business. That's why actually I think all these people that I meet, somehow they become my friend very quickly, and then with them I can go out to do something. So they become my social friend at the same time. So to answer your question, I would say that I do not have a separate social network right now from this life perspective, but my professional friends are my like network and my community that I can consider.
Okay, that's an interesting point of view.
Does it answer your question?
And that is what I hope to build. That is what I'm lacking. So kudos.
Yeah.
Because you need it to have a career to actually not bankrupt. So
yes, it is. I feel like it's a very balancing thing, and like good things takes time, and I have been very patient to this happen, and actually it has some time that I could come up to this point that now that I can call my professional life a very like a balanced life with like, you know, different activities.
that's nice.
Yes, very, very different perspectives. Like it's
Yes,
nice that we
yes.
get to see the both sides of it. But even so, for both of you, your network has been important in your professional life as well. Be it the other way around, like more like making friends with your colleagues and people you meet through your entrepreneurial journey, or then maybe that is your network supporting you and taking you towards that journey. Maybe as a last thing, and I know this is going to be a very difficult question, but if you were to start all over again, if you were to move to Finland now, what would you like? Could you give some advice to someone? Like, what could they look for? Like, where could they find connections? Or is there something you would do differently? Feel free to elaborate from there if you have any ideas.
Shall I go first?
Yeah.
All right. I'm really like excited to answer this question because I was just talking about these things to one of my friend who just recently moved to Finland, like 1 year. And he was asking me the same question that, okay, where shall I go? How shall I start this journey? And I had this one answer is that you must have to be outgoing. I mean, sitting home and writing a WhatsApp message or connected with like Instagram, Facebook is not gonna help too much, but just go out, and even it's like a library that you're sitting and working. You don't know like with whom you meet in the library and with whom you might start your next business or next you find your employer. So outgoing or going out is something that I emphasize too much on international people who come to Finland. Like sometimes I feel even I myself was very like introvert and staying home and I was thinking that I might win the world by sitting home because the internet is with me and I can go wherever I can go. But actually that didn't work and that failed. But since I started to go out, which is like I would say last 2 years, and I wouldn't change anything from what happened last 2 years. So these 2 years I have been outgoing all the time and doing something outside, not home.
Can you be more specific so people
yeah.
Go to the library.
intricate information?
For example, Think Company co-working space. I would say that this is a free option, and this is how actually I discovered Think Company. I was looking in internet. I want to like work outside in Helsinki, and this city center Tareque came to the option. I just went inside the door and I was like, where shall I sit? And somebody saw me and said, hey, are you looking for something? Can I help? And I said, yeah, I'm just looking for a co-working space. And then he said, yeah, you can go and sit there and work. And at the same time, our association board member election running, if you want to join, you can join. And immediately standing there, I just took my iPad and I registered that I want to be like, part of this community.
Okay.
And that's what actually brought me here today.
Yeah.
So
funny how,
well,
this has really like become like a very, very important moment for you. And thank you for the algorithm for like bringing you to specifically that place to find a co-working space.
Exactly.
But yeah, so mostly just going somewhere to work on your own thing and then meet people via that. Cansu, did you have some tips or thoughts?
A lot. I have. For students who are studying in the university, who just started the university, I would say don't underestimate extracurricular activities. I would say be active in the university groups. When I started Aalto University, I was so excited to do so many activities within the university campus area, but life just took over, and I had no chance to really do anything else but the classes. So I focused on the result of the courses and of my grades and not really developing human connection. So I would say try to really get to know people and be active outside classroom. It's not everything. The grade isn't everything. When you develop some kind of deep connection during the university, your life will be honestly so much different when you graduate. And if you want to stay in that country, I'm not saying you want to, but if you want to, your life will be much better. I don't take it for granted, your university times. So when I moved to Finland, if I knew now what I know, I would say I would definitely invest in a hobby group that I want to do. But it's also okay that you don't know what you want to do. For example, I didn't know what I wanted to do as a hobby. I was I don't know. I was lost, I guess. I didn't know maybe myself much. I just knew some things about myself, but maybe I wasn't very deep in my thoughts, what I wanted to do, what makes me happy, how to be happy, stuff like this. If you don't know what your hobby would be, I would say try everything and see what gives you the tick. Another thing to get connections in here in a new country, I would say, the moment you start to build community around you, look at what they are doing. For example, my friend group runs, my partner runs. So after living maybe 6, 7, 8 years together in the same country, I just recently started running. 2 years ago, I started running. So it took me a lot of years to rub off on me about their conversation about running and how enthusiastic they are. I felt no connection. I just, like, to that subject, I didn't feel any trigger to go towards that. But then something clicked in my head, like, so these people are basically experts in running. Why don't I take advantage of what they know?
Yeah, that's so you might find some passions from what other people are doing as well. That's a very,
and
very
through
good
those
point.
you will find connections. But you need to just first find what makes you happy, and from that on. For example, this entrepreneurship society that I mentioned in Think Company, like now I'm creating connections because of something that we have in common. As Tareque said, the entrepreneurship, now we can discuss about our businesses, how is it going. Just as Tareque said, be active in what's going on in your life, what's going on in your personal life, in your business life, your hobbies, your passion. Just be outside, be active. Don't wait things to come to you. Go to them.
So as to sum up, as you said, that I wanted to go to the library or find a space, go out to find those, and like traditional ways might work better than some ways we might find in the modern world via internet. And then also from Cansu, maybe that look around you. What are other people doing? And then you might actually find common interests in other people, like what are your connections doing? And look at those. But surely, like, both of you have had very different stories. You have really grown into your like finding your own ways in Finland, and also as an entrepreneur, both of you. Really, really good to hear both of your stories. Thank you again a lot for joining us here today on this side of the camera.
Yes.
and yeah, surely that's a good note to end this episode. And if you enjoyed it, our conversation with Cansu and Tareque, you can subscribe and like, of course, and please do check Helsinki Think Company sites as well, thinkcomedy.fi. You can see what kind of events and other activities and co-working spaces, programs you might find. Thanks a lot for listening. Until next time.